Hi everybody, I'm Lynn. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to share with y'all today a little bit about my journey and how I got into raw foods and all the sprouting, the microgreens, the wheatgrass, the barley grass. It started about a little over 20 years ago. I had decided to stop eating beef. I was just eating like chicken and turkey, thinking it was just, healthier to do it that way. And at the time, I had never really heard about being vegan or didn't know any vegans or vegetarians, and surely didn't know what raw food is, Didn't really have any internet or anything like that. So I did that for a little while, and then one day on TV, I was watching some kind of talk show, and someone was on there talking about being vegetarian, and I thought, wow, people really go without eating meat. I was just so amazed. So I thought, this is what I want to do. This is it for me. I think this is what I want to do. So the very next day, I went out and to the bookstore and I got a book on vegetarianism. And there was, y'all, at the time there was only maybe like 4 or 5 on the shelf to choose from. And now you can go in there and they have a whole aisle of just different diets that you can do, everything on nutrition. So anyway, so I got the book, read it, and thought, yeah, this is it for me. This is what I'm going to do. So I just jumped in it all the way. Didn't really transition or anything. Just stopped eating all the meat. I was still eating dairy. And let me tell y'all a little bit how I was at the time, okay? I wasn't a very healthy vegetarian. I was eating a lot of junk food. If it wasn't meat, I would eat it, okay? And I really had a bad relationship with food. I did. I mean, I was very, very compulsive with food. Very compulsive. Like, say I would, just to give you an example, say I would get a bag of cookies, okay? Well, I would get the bag of cookies, and most people would like eat 3 or 4, shut the bag, go about their day. Well, me, I would know that it was in that cabinet, and it's like it would bug me. And by the end of the day, the whole bag would be gone. I would eat the whole bag. Or say I would get a large cheese pizza, and I would think, well, I'll eat half today and the other half tomorrow. By the end of the day, the whole cheese pizza would be gone, plus the breadsticks that I had with the cheese on top. My diet was not good at all. And it was like, y'all, when I would eat, it just, it's really hard to explain, but it's like I would eat and I knew that I ate. I knew that I had that meal, that I was done, but I was already thinking about what the next meal was going to be, okay? Planning the next meal. It was like, I was never satisfied. I always felt like there was something missing. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, this isn't working. All right, my weight had gotten really up there. I was about almost 180, 178. My periods were really, really bad. I suffered every month with it. I mean, really, really bad menstrual cycles, to the point where I just didn't want to get up out of bed. It was terrible. It was really terrible. So I was dealing with that. I would deal with sinus stuff, just feeling like stuffed up and all that. And like at night when I would go to bed, everything would just close up, like I couldn't breathe. And I just didn't feel good in my own body, And even to this day, when someone tells me, Lynn, I just don't feel good in my body, it just breaks my heart because I know I've been there. And it's really a bad feeling, and that's how I was feeling at the time. So I decided to start cleaning up my diet. I let go of dairy, just started making better food choices. So my weight went from 178 to about 150, and then about that time, I started working at a health food store, and they were doing Hallelujah diet classes, the Hallelujah diet, okay, little nutritional classes. And well, basically the diet is a lot of raw foods, but you still do some cooked vegan food, okay? Well, the whole time I kept thinking, so because they kept talking about how good raw food was, with all the enzymes and all that. And the whole time I kept thinking, well, raw food is so good, then why not just do all raw? I mean, that just kind of made sense to me. So I was kind of playing around with that in my head, and then I got the book Eating for Beauty that was there at the store. I bought the book and read that, and it was like, okay, this is a beautiful thing. This is really, really what I want to do. Okay, raw foods. It just seems like just a beautiful way to live. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. So I kind of just jumped right into it. Didn't really transition or anything like that. Just started doing. Basically, my diet at that time was a lot of salads. Good fats like avocado. I would do a lot of like blended stuff, like with salads and a little bit of fruit. I was doing fruit, but it was a lot of greens that I was doing. Well, my weight went from about 150 to about 110, and it happened pretty fast. I just felt great, like my whole life had changed and everything. And then at that time also in the store that we had some sprouting, a little sprouting section, some seeds in there to sprout. So I ended up getting a pack of bean sprouts and alfalfa sprouts and started, playing around with that, and I really enjoyed doing it and stuff. And then one day, the owner of the store, she was like, well, Lynn, have you ever heard of Ann Wigmore, with all the raw foods that you're doing and stuff? And I was like, no, I never heard of her. She was like, well, you really need to check out who she is. So at the time, I still didn't really have internet at home or anything. So I looked her up there at the store and got a book and everything. And y'all, it just blew my mind. I mean, it was like, wow, okay, how she was living, all of the sunflower greens she was growing and the buckwheat greens and growing the wheatgrass. And yeah, it was like a fairy tale to me. It just seemed like, wow, I kept thinking, I want to be her. I want to do all that stuff. So anyway, so I was so fascinated by it. So I started playing around with it, doing a little bit of sunflower greens and buckwheat greens and everything, and doing that for a while. Well, eventually the store closed, and I ended up not going back to work. My grandson at the time, he was just born, so I ended up staying home to take care of him, and I still do to this day, along with my two other grandbabies. But so anyway, so I was doing, a little bit of the sprouting and stuff. Well, eventually I ended up adding in some cooked food back in. For whatever reason, I just did, okay? Started playing around with it a little bit. Well, I did not like how it made me feel. Those same feelings how I would used to feel was like coming back over me again, feeling out of control with food, It's like, y'all, when I would put that cooked food in my body, it's like my body would just go berserk, okay? Just crazy, all right? And it was never enough when I would eat it, okay? And I just don't like feeling that way. So I was like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to just, you know, keep going back and forth with it? And at the time I was still doing really high raw, okay? Really high raw. But I just didn't like the way the cooked food would make me feel. Like I said, those feelings were coming back again. So sat down and I thought, okay, you need to make a decision. You know that it's hard for you to do both cooked vegan food and raw food. So it's going to be one or the other with you. It's just going to have to be that way. So when I sat down and really thought about it, I was like, raw all the way. Because I had already, experienced, being all raw for, I guess, about 3 years. So I knew how that feeling felt, and I kept thinking, I want that feeling back. I want that back. I want that, my sanity back. You know what I'm saying? So I went all the way with it. Now, I did try at one point doing a higher fruit diet. I did, but it just didn't work for me. I just didn't feel balanced. It's the only way I know how to put it. I still felt like, I don't know, a little out of control when I had too much fruit, So so I got the greens back up again, you know, did the high fruit thing for just a little while, you know, got away from that, then added all, you know, the higher green intake again. Really started getting into the microgreens and, you know, the wheatgrass and everything, and it just really worked, you know. I mean, it just really worked. So my weight had went from the 178 to the 150 when I first started raw, then down to the 110, and everything was good. You know, everything was just working out great, just feeling good. Those crazy feelings with, you know, the food had gone, and my periods now are like nothing. I mean, just very, very clean, and just I don't hurt like I used to, and my diet now at this point, I still don't do a lot of fruit. The bulk of my diet is the sprouting, the microgreens, the wheatgrass, the barley grass, you know, with some good fats in there, of course. That's the bulk of my diet. But I do but I do fruit also. You know, add in the fruit because I feel like we do need both. You know, you need the balance between your fruit, your greens, and your fat. You know, and I think each person is really going to be different with their balance. But anyway, so that's where I'm at now. All the sprouting, the wheatgrass, a lot of greens. And I do also intermittent fasting. Now I have leaned out a little bit more, you know, with the intermittent fasting, but I'm happy where I'm at. I feel great, lots of energy. I'm never sick or anything. I keep up with my grandkids every day, and it's just life is good, y'all. Life is good, and I'm so glad that raw foods came into my life. You know, I'm so glad that it found me. You know, because and right now it's so nice because like I can really sit with other people eating, even if they're eating, you know, cooked vegan food, and it's really clean, organic, and all that good stuff, and I'm at the point in my life where I don't want it. I just don't feel the need for it because I've gotten so far in this lifestyle now and it's so good that it's like, why would I even bother to dabble in any of that anymore, you know? So, but this is where I'm at now. I just wanted to share this with y'all, and I'm trying not to make this too long of a video, so, but if you want to check out my Instagram page at Lynn's Living Foods, I show on there daily pretty much everything that I eat and drink, and just different things, so if you want to check that out. And so I think that's it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I guess we'll wrap things up, and I will see y'all in the next video. All right, bye.